Hello everyone, welcome along to At Odds, all thanks to unibet.com.au. We've done the AFL Grand Final, we've done the NRL Grand Final. The other big news this weekend was the start of the NBL, and Shane Hill was spot on for about 1 of 10, but anyway, moving forward. It was very chirpy early doors, but then game 1, game 2...
It's not true.
Came good, Kings.
That's not true.
Came good, Kings v
And
Cairns.
Brisbane at $2.30. Russ, come on, say it. But the biggest problem we had was that United had 3 of their best players out.
Yep.
2 for the first game, 2 starters. Casey Prather, he's a superstar. He's won championships before. He was out, and obviously Dave Barlow. So that was a big out. But then 3 out for the second game, and they actually did all right.
Yeah, they fired up. Look, I'm having a crack because you did pick a few winners across the weekend, and we've found a couple of winners going forward, particularly...
They've won already, have they?
Particularly a stat that is just too hard not to believe.
Well, the Perth Wildcats, you know I'm not the biggest Perth Wildcats fan, but they are a good
Perth,
team.
actually.
Yeah, no, I don't hate them, but I don't
Whole
like
hate
them.
Western Australia.
They have won 32 out of their last 33 games against Illawarra in Perth, and they started the week at $1.40. They're into $1.36 at the moment, -5.5.
That is the lock of the week just on statistics alone.
Yeah, it has, and they're so powerful at home. Perth aren't playing their best basketball, got out of jail in game 1, but they'll be too good for Illawarra.
Brisbane, $1.32 against Cairns. Looks like Cairns are going to have a tough season.
Yeah, I think they'll be the bottom team, but they've got more talent than what they did last year. Brisbane Bullets, I really like what they've done. We thought they might get a win on the road against Illawarra. That came through. A lot of good talent across the board. Really small team Andre Lamanis has gone with, but really mobile. I like it.
And Sydney, almost the same odds, $1.35 against Adelaide, $3.20 at the Kingdome.
Well, the talking point for that is Jerome Randall, who the Kings did not want, and there was a little bit of argy-bargy between him and Andrew Bogut last year, so they didn't bring him back. Now he's got picked up by the Adelaide 36ers, and the very first game is in Sydney against Bogut and the Kings. So I think the Kings will be too good, but they'll be much better, Adelaide, with Jerome Randall in the team.
And Southeast Melbourne, the Phoenix, had a win in their opening game, which is perfect for a team entering the competition. They're outsiders, though, against Brisbane.
Well, that's a game that could go either way. Mitch Creek was an absolute superstar. He came back from the NBA and showed that he was a class above in game 1. The problem I've got for Southeast Melbourne is Ty Wesley, their superstar forward. He's going to be out for the next 3 weeks, and they've got an American that I hope he hasn't unpacked, because he's going to be on the next plane home very shortly if they don't have someone. He's no good at all. So they've got no depth in the front court. So I've got question marks about Southeast Melbourne in game 2. I would be on Brisbane in a close one.
Speaking of America in a roundabout way, LaMelo Ball, 1 million people tuned in just to watch him the other day. Was that?
The ratings have got... there was 1 million people tune in for a pre-season game, and then obviously the first game as well. Predicted to be in the top 5. I'm not sure he'll be top 1. I don't think he'll be the top. Had a decent game. Still got a lot of things, as you would imagine, to work on because he's only 18. His shot is terrible, all over the place. 0 from 5 from 3, but a real talent.
Needs
long.
the hammer.
He's long and got an ability to be able to finish at the basket.
What do you mean he's long?
Well, he's about 6'6", and he plays a point guard. He's long, Junior. Long.
Brian Fletch has just appeared just for the next 10 minutes.
Well, we don't
Fletch?
understand all the basketball talk, so we need to know what he
So
means.
you were on the terminology on the weekend, watching some basketball. I loved it.
But I thought you might have meant he's good from long distance.
No, not good
Good
from long
city.
range, but great off the dribble. And yeah, that's another conversation.
Rugby World Cup continues. It's kind of the dud sort of week. There hasn't been too much in the way of games other than to say that the Japanese have been simply outstanding. Sitting on top of the ladder, they play again in their 4th game coming up against Scotland. If they win that, going through undefeated is somewhat of a miracle.
Yeah.
That, and at the start, remember I said there's no real team with home
smokies.
field advantage. The Japanese have poo-pooed that idea. They've been tremendous in their support. But
Do they win that next game?
I think they can against Scotland. They're one of my bets of the weekend. I think the biggest story in a roundabout way is the typhoon that is predicted to hit parts of Japan over the next 4 to 5 days. Upwards of 12 inches of rain across the weekend, putting a game or 2 in doubt. Now, if a game is called off and one of them involves Wales, the points are split, which means Australia can leapfrog Wales if they beat Georgia and get a bonus point, putting Australia's position in the quarters against France as opposed to against England. And that's what everybody is sort of saying at the moment. I think the England-France game is going to be an interesting game aside from everything because I mean, the Poms haven't been ultra impressive so far. They've
You
got
lost
away
me
with
after there was a typhoon coming.
It's interesting.
They haven't got a roof on the ground, though, have they?
No, I don't think so. It's they're talking
wanna
about
check that?
calling it off. They're not going to call it off. There's a roof there, Junior.
That's what I'm saying. You wanna
Fairly
check that?
sure. No, I'm pretty sure I'm okay
No
with
roof?
that.
Okay, all right.
It's only a couple of games that are affected. I'm not even sure of the region of Japan, but everybody's talking about this typhoon.
Right.
Who are we on to
Hubris,
win it, Russ?
Typhoon Hubris.
Where's your mindset now?
Oh no, it's the All Blacks. It's just a matter of who they're playing in the final.
What
Yeah,
about the
but do you
Wallabies?
think they'll win it?
Yeah, I'm off the Wallabies. They've had a bit of bad luck.
I just heard on the way down they've got to rethink their tackling technique. They're tackling too high, which is
Well, everybody
giving away a lot
does.
of penalties.
Everybody does, because all of a sudden the video assistant referee, VAO or whatever, TMO in rugby union, is now looking at everything anywhere near the shoulder that slides up and hits the neck or the head region. It's a joke.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, and ridiculous. But Australia $1.02 v Georgia, England $1.16 v France. France 13.5 start. If it's raining, you got to look at that.
Mm-hmm.
And the one that's interesting, Japan and Scotland $1.79, $1.96. I think the line is 53 in that game. Go the unders, because if they're talking about calling games off because of rain,
Heavy track.
they're not going to score a lot of points. So that's my theory on the Rugby World Cup.
Like it.
Bathurst is on this weekend. What a great weekend for the Rev Heads. They actually get up there on the Tuesday for a race that's on the Sunday. They
The
start
spectators?
camping. The spectators.
Geez, they'd be in good shape by the weekend, wouldn't they?
There's a 1 carton per person limit on full strength beer.
Per day?
Per day.
1 carton.
1 carton, and a carton and a half if it's mid strength. I haven't drunk a carton of beer in a week in my entire life.
Lucky to be alive, wouldn't you?
How do you do a carton a day for
That's a
5
good
straight
effort.
days?
Oh,
Yeah.
And only 1 bottle of scotch or bourbon or whatever.
day?
it does. Win Cup and Lowndes, the favourites. We've got them at the moment at $4 alongside McLaughlin and Premet. McLaughlin's never won Bathurst. He's won 17 races so far this season, leads it by 600 points, the championship, has never won Bathurst. He's 0 for 7. He's got a bit
Why
of
is
a
that?
love-hate relationship with David Reynolds. I don't know, he's always going in as the favourite. There's pressure there. It's a long race. It's not 2 short races over a weekend. The endurance races generally separate. And you've got Win Cup, who's won it 4 times. Lowndes won it 6 times. They know that they can come from well back. They know that it's not won in the first hour. It's like all those things. You don't lose them in the first hour. Win them in the first hour, but you can lose them in the first hour.
Is there a smoky there at odds? We can
Dave Reynolds is a guy that I like. He was the one that came from almost last on the grid in 2017, and he won it. He's got a young driver, Luke Yulden, been around a few times. Tander's teaming up with Shane Van Gisbergen. He's won it 3 times. Tander's won it, I think, 3 as well. In fact, no, Shane Van Gisbergen has led and lost it 3 times. But Tander will add some experience to that as well. If I was chasing someone at reasonable odds, I'd be looking at Dave Reynolds, Luke Yulden. But if you look at the
Where are
numbers,
they?
they're still only
Can't even
750.
see it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a dozen blokes that just cannot win it.
Yeah.
So you're really looking at the top end of town. You would say that Win Cup and Lowndes are going to be there or thereabouts
Righto.
because they've got all the dollars, they've got the best Holden, and they've got the most experienced drivers. So pretty much go with those guys and see how we go from there. Righto, that just about does things for the moment. And now around the grounds, we've got a big racing segment to come up very, very shortly. We'll check our winners and losers from the weekend. Don't forget, all of the odds and the specials are online at unibet.com.au. Rightio, welcome back. Unibet.com.au sponsors at odds, and each week we have our lucky punt of the week. And unfortunately for
Well said.
Junior, Hammer, and myself, not so lucky this week. We're unlucky.
We were unlucky.
Yeah.
Close.
You were unlucky.
I was
Very unlucky with
Natoya.
Natoya.
Good run.
I had the Burleigh Bears. They were in front with
Oh,
10 seconds to go. Gone. I can stop
you
it.
can stop. You can stop Winks
can
nearly.
stop.
Not quite.
I backed Winks.
Okay, so you didn't
over
stop
and
it.
over and
Just.
So you just got beat. No.
Brian, on the other hand, did have a win. He was our lone winner, 325
So glad he's
collect.
not here.
I will say that Mark Schwartz's 150 to 1 long shot, Brighton to beat Tottenham, tick. Newcastle to beat Man U, tick. And he fell 1 short.
Oh,
150 to 1.
I had a
You
little
had
interest
20
on
bucks
that.
didn't you?
That would have been nice.
So there's the scoreboard
Fletcher.
on screen. Fletcher
We've
gets
got a
the.
cardboard cutout of him somewhere.
He's going to give us our tips, or his tips at the end of this. But let's go with Junior, you first up, and it's a big weekend of racing. I'm fairly sure
it is.
you're
What are we doing?
going
Slam
that
dunk
way.
first, are we?
Yeah, we'll go with these slam
There's
dunk.
Group 1s in Sydney and Melbourne. I'm going to Melbourne for my slam dunk in the Scalacci Stakes. So the winner of this race gets into the Everest. So there's plenty to race for in this race. I like trekking. Gone with the strength in Godolphin. I thought his run was excellent at the Valley in the Moya Stakes a couple of weeks ago, I think it was. So I'm thinking trekking is going to win.
Okay.
And get into the Everest.
Hammer.
Slam dunk. I spoke to you before about Perth's record, -5.5 at home. I think they'll be way too good for the Illawarra Hawks. Into Brisbane to win at home against Cairns. That should happen. And Sydney to beat Adelaide at home. Probably get close to $4.
I'm falling into the tip Perth to beat Illawarra for the 33rd time out of 34. Wanderers. It's A-League time. I'm going to go the Wanderers to beat the Mariners.
Yep.
And Japan to beat Scotland. That'll be about $5 or $6 when you throw them all together.
Hail Marys. I'm going racing. I'm leaving out sport this weekend. I know the A-League's starting, but I'm going to Randwick to start with. I'm going to back Natoya for a place again. I'm going to back up on Natoya this week. Fasika in the Silver Eagle for a place. And then I'm going backwards. I'm going to Port Macquarie on Friday. They've got the Port Macquarie Cup up there and a sprint race worth $70,000. We've got a runner called Spring Charlie in the sprint.
Come on, Charlie.
I think he can win, but I'm going to be conservative and go a place for him. So that's a place all up Natoya, Fasika, Spring Charlie.
Oh, what are we going to get for that roughly, you reckon?
I reckon about $10 maybe.
Ooh, nice.
Okay.
Very
Hammer.
good. All right, I am sticking with the Perth Wildcats. I'm going to go 11 plus on this one. So everything on them this weekend. Into Brisbane -5.5 against Cairns. We'll get upwards of $5.
I'm going with France to upset the Poms in the Rugby World Cup, praying for a bit of rain, and England haven't been ultra impressive so far, or ultra impressive I should say, and the victory to take care of Melbourne City. That should work out at around $12.10. France are about $5.50. But as I say, if you want to have a saver, take the 13.5 start. Let's hear from Brian Fletcher and also Mark Schwarzer about their thoughts for this weekend.
Hi guys, well this weekend there are no English Premier League fixtures, so I've gone with a combination of A-League matches and European qualifiers. So let's get started. My slam dunk for this week is England to beat the Czech Republic, France to beat Iceland, Spain to beat Norway, Western Sydney Wanderers to beat Central Coast Mariners. And my Hail Mary is Adelaide United to beat Sydney FC, Wales to beat Croatia, and Georgia to beat the Republic of Ireland. For this week's match multi, I'm going to go with England to beat Czech Republic by over 2.5 goals, with both teams scoring and Harry Kane being one of them. All the very best and happy punting.
G'day Russ, g'day boys. Yeah, obviously I'm not in the studio, but I'm down here in Hobart. Precisely where I am now, Constitution Dock. Beautiful place down here. So obviously in about 80 odd days, the City to Hobart winner will be coming along through here. It's usually wild oats. But we're not here to talk about my holiday. We're here to talk about my slam dunk. And this is what we're doing this week. After last week, I was the only winner. So let's see if I can do 2 in a row. I'm going NFL. So I'm going my team, the Seahawks, to beat the Cleveland Browns. The Redskins at home to touch up Miami. And Wales in the Rugby World Cup, -16.5 against Fiji. I'm going to flip the page over. Beautiful place down here. You should come down here, boys. It's a cracking place. Good food, good wine. Off to Port Arthur today. Now this is my Hail Mary. Okay, in the 1,000 guineas, I'm going Emeralds a place. And then in race 10, in the Scalacci Stakes, the Bostonian a place. So that is my Hail Mary. So signing off here, Brian Fletcher down here in beautiful Hobart. I recommend it highly. See you boys, see you next week.
Wow, exciting stuff there from Brian Fletcher. Obviously enjoying his family time, or either that, or he's had enough of the kids and wife already and wants out of.
It's got to be
Tasman.
mature. He's with the family.
That's going to be difficult.
That's sensible, Brian. You've never seen him before, but that's what we have to
We
deal
don't
with
like
occasionally. We don't like him at all. We'll see you next week for more At Odds, all thanks to unibet.com.au.